Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode is a unique adventure with a beginning, middle, and end, and usually we explore different kinds of tabletop role-playing games and play a different system every week. Each episode's microplot may fit into the overarching macroplot of the season, but each episode is still independent of each other, so you can listen to them in any order or skip the ones you don't enjoy. Today's game will be using Ludus Nightmares into Reality, a very improvisational-based system. It has a mechanic that is an equation. We'll walk you through it as we play this game. But essentially what happens is the players are stuck in a dream or a dreamscape of some sort. And what they have to do is turn the dream into a nightmare. And not just any nightmare, but one that may become reality. One that's going to resolve in, say, waking you up instead of just like making you stressed out in your dream. So the goal today is kind of to scare people. It's to have fun and improvise. But because this is a horror game, we don't normally do this, but I'm putting a content warning out there in advance. We don't really know what's going to pop up in this game. We've established lines and boundaries for what we will accept in any line of horror and what is not acceptable for us. So we know that, but we can't really guarantee anything beyond those lines. If you're sensitive to horror, just please take care in listening to this episode. I still think it's going to be fun and that you stick around, but that content warning's out there. Okay, with that, let's meet our players for today. First is Beau Doucette.
Hey there, go Tigers. My name is Beau Doucette. And I guess a visual for me, I am tall, built. Today I am wearing a purple t-shirt with my, of course, the LSU varsity jacket, pair of jeans, and a pair of high-top sneakers. Go Tigers.
And next we have Marty Flame.
Hey everybody, I'm Marty. I am just kind of trying to figure out life here. I'm mostly a surfer. I'm, tall and reasonably athletic and, long curly red hair. Me and my sister are just joining up to try to find some meaning through the millennia here.
And finally, we have Sadie Duca.
Hi. And Sadie will just stutter herself into a corner, basically. I will describe her for you. Sadie is a white-haired Macritus elf. Macritus means having long ears, and she does. They are wide as the horizon and just as flat. They stick out horizontal from her head. And this is Sadie's, fifth or something adventure with the fire-breathing kittens. So she is adventuring because she's engaged to be married. And she wants to get out of the house a little bit before she settles down. But she's scared of everything and really only finds herself when she's stroking her giant quartz crystals that she loves. She loves quartz crystals. They're not quartz.
Is that a cocaine reference?
It's a lot of different drug references, actually.
Yeah. I might have done a bad thing with her with the crystals. I'm not sure. Depends how you feel about hallucinogens and antifungals and painkillers and sedatives. And yeah, it depends on if you've been affected by the epidemic of anyway. So maybe not my best aligned character.
It's okay. We're all, there are all types.
She puts a new spin on healing crystals.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it.
They heal the inside boo-boos.
No one ever remembers the inside boo-boos. All right. So you three are in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. And there are other people around. The Guild Hall is a multi-story building. It's got a bar/tavern at the first floor, and then there are just so many floors of rooms and whatnot above it where different fire-breathing kittens stay and sleep. There's quite a crowd right now. People are just milling about, and it looks generally a little busier than normal, but there are no flyers on the job board yet. What are you guys doing?
I'm I'm just enjoying that this is canon now, that yes, there are rooms above the bar and people do live here.
Note to self, future episode where meteor strikes Nick and Moe, Guildhall is destroyed. Okay, I'm planning it.
Well, hey, if that happens, where am I going to put my hammock?
I'm just trying to think of one bar in real life that people live in. Like, just one.
Literally every inn in every fantasy novel.
Okay, meteor strike. I'm just kidding.
Actually, a lot of the bars in my city are like that. There's apartments above them.
Yeah, that counts.
They're not connected, but, just utilizing downtown space. Anyways, I think we're just hanging out, having a drink. What are you drinking?
I think Bo is in the corner explaining the entirety of American history as best he knows. Last time he was in an adventure with Mary, somebody from Elizabethan England who had not yet experienced such joys as the age of colonialism. But since they are from the same universe, being our universe, I feel like Bo is definitely he's got a whiteboard out and he's giving like almost a play-by-play of world history that he knows of from like 1550 to when, like the modern times when he was taken away.
Marty's making comments about how this is all just recent history. He really needs to keep up with the times better.
Sadie is sitting in front of the whiteboard, looking at it like very studious, taking notes. She's been a student basically like a really long time. She's like more than 700 years old. She's 718. And so she's like really good at learning at this point.
Oh, so you remember when this happened too?
She looks at you and she's like, "Oh, I don't go outside much, so mostly I just I learn about the world from what other people tell me and from books. I've really only been outside with fire-breathing kittens."
Oh, well, we can work on that. I spend a lot of time outside.
So you guys are learning a little bit more about Bo's history when you see a small dwarf come down the stairs, and you all recognize this as the guild leader, Nulasag. There are many sheafs of paper in his hands, and he drags a chair across the floor over to the job board and starts pinning all of these flyers up.
Looks like something big happened.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to do history lessons. This is good because this is where I lose a lot of this. All right, let's go see what's over there.
Okay, so Bo, you head over first. You look at one of the job flyers, and it says in big block letters, you would recognize this as the font of LSU, like of the like the university letterings. It just says, "Wake up."
Well, no kidding.
Sounds woke.
I think.
Hey, Nulasag, are any of these flyers actually worth putting down this delightful coconut rum?
Well, if you want to wake up, I'd say so.
I don't know. Sleep's pretty cool.
I think Sadie's having a hyperventilation moment. She's like, "Oh no. Oh my gosh." She's like panicking, like, "I'm not sure what's going on right now. I'm a little concerned." And she's checking her crystals. She's like touching them around her. She's like, okay, whew, okay. And she's counting them. 1, 2, 3. And then she counts them again. Sort of like a loop.
Bo takes a look around and he's just like, okay. I feel like I've seen this one in like a Grey's Anatomy or something. It's basically like the person's in a coma and then there's like the people telling them to wake up, but it like comes through. Are we in a coma?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 1, 2.
Marty pinches Bo.
It hurts.
Thank you for that. I need that.
Hey, no problem, man.
All right, so somebody's playing a trick on us or something.
Well, what do the other posters say?
Do you go and take a look?
Yeah.
One of them says in barely legible writing, it looks almost like chicken scratch and lazily written. It says, "Wake up."
So that's 2 wake ups. feel like we're in a Folgers commercial up in here. All right. What else? What else we
You
got? Let's keep
distinctly
going.
smell the aroma of coffee coming from the bar.
Ooh, okay. What about these others? There's tons of these, right? Do any of them say anything besides wake up in various fonts?
They all look like the same font to you.
Oh.
And they all say wake up.
I don't see the LSU lettering.
Nope.
Well, this is trippy.
Sadie checks for certain crystals. Did they get out?
Seems like all of your crystals are there, Sadie.
Okay.
Sadie, are any of your crystals, a little stimulanty?
Oh, yeah.
Let's try licking some of those.
Yeah, give me one of those before the big game. I'll take that any day.
We really do have a crystal meth.
Try this one. It's 2S-N-methyl 1-phenylpropantuamine.
Oh, those are words I don't know. I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah, chemistry's been a while ago. Which one is that?
She holds up a crystal that looks like quartz.
I was hoping for something with
searching.
an amphetamine in there somewhere.
Yes, it's commonly called methamphetamine, and it looks sort of like...
That's the one.
I could show you guys some pictures. Here, I'm showing you some pictures. You guys see this?
Yeah, that's the one.
Quick note from the GM. Fire-breathing kittens does not advocate nor support use of any kind of illicit drug substance use officially.
Especially not meth.
Yes.
I mean, I thought she was going to give us Adderall, but whatever.
I feel like we always have to say this when Sadie's in an episode.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways,
Adderall
Marty
is basically
takes one
meth.
of those. Oh yeah, it is. It's very similar.
Like I'm just looking up names.
No offense to anyone on Adderall, but yes, all of the stimulants are very similar.
Amethylbenzene ethanamine. Oh gosh, yeah. I'm like, oh well, they're very similar, and she's holding up two very similar quartz crystals. And then she licks one.
I take one of each and pop them in my mouth.
I think Bo very slowly puts up his hands and just walks backwards. All right, I ain't getting involved in this. I am not going to have the NCAA on me for having this in my system. No, thank you.
Okay, so Marty took the most stimulants, correct?
Oh, tons.
So everything comes into clear focus, and it's the wood and the grain of it just sharpens, and it's almost like you can see beyond it. Like you can see its molecular structure of the wood. And as you look around, things start to kind of break into their component pieces. And Sadie and Bo, you see this too. The fire-breathing kittens hall starts to gradually expand, like there's more and more space between each of the atoms there until there's the job board that has retained its place with all of those signs that say wake up and you three floating there. So as the first mechanic of this game, you do this sort of thing called twists where something happens to change the dream. So I will count this as the first twist. There's a limit to the number of twists we can do, but now as players, it's up to you to decide how much further you guys go to change the stream in order to wake up.
All right. For Sadie, this is very clear. In her left hand, she's holding 1-phenylpropantuamine, and in her right hand, she's holding 2S-N-methyl 1-phenylpropantuamine, which very similar. And she's like, I lick the right hand crystal. And she licks it, and the twist, the thing that would really freak her out, is if she licks it and like licking ice cream, instead of meeting the resistance of a rock, because these things have not been changing shape when she's been licking them in previous episodes, but it's now more like licking ice cream, where when you lick it, there's like a huge dent in the crystal, and then she licks it again and it's gone, and she doesn't have her healing crystal anymore, and she's like, ah. And so the twist is that the crystal is of a limited use and it's gone. this particular one, 2S-N-methyl-1-phenylpropane-2amine.
I think as this is going on, Bo is just kind of going within himself, and he's like, "All right, this is getting too strange. I gotta focus on waking up, and maybe I'll be home." And he kind of like he puts his hands together, and he's just like, "Okay, when I do this, I'm gonna wake up." And I think the twist is you see. So like football field turf, it's like that artificial kind of plasticky grass. I think as Bo, the more Bo stands still, the more just like artificial turf grows around him.
So we all do twists at the same time, not one at a time.
We're doing rounds. This is a round of twists. Yeah.
Okay. I think Marty's twist. So Marty is an anthropomorphic personification, if anyone reads Terry Pratchett books. He is the embodiment of the spirit of summer, and he is millennia old, ageless, immortal, right? So I think the thing that would freak him out the most is something that implies he is taking damage. That's never happened. So he just ate some meth. I'm gonna say a tooth falls out.
Nice.
So there's currently like this small island of AstroTurf in this ever expanding space that Bo's standing in. Sadie is losing resources, and Marty feels actual pain, almost as though because of the expansion, there's also pieces of Marty being pulled as well and pulled away. It's almost like the concept of him is disappearing, much like the concept of space is disappearing in this space. You guys are free to do another round of twists and add to it if you'd like. This goes as long as you want to, up to 20 individual twists.
I have another good one, if I can jump in.
Yeah, go for it.
So, okay, so the turf thing, that was just kind of like, that was a warm-up. I think what happens, Bo is still trying to, like get himself to wake up, but as he's doing this, more things that make him himself are being removed. So, he's still trying to like focus and like, put his hands together and just like he's closing his eyes. And so all of the LSU regalia starts to change colors from a purple and gold into red and white. And the tiger emblem changes to a block N. And when he kind of unclenches, you notice Bo's accent is completely gone. And he just kind of looks around and he's like, "All right, go." And he covers his mouth and he's like, "Wait a second. Where did my accent? What happened to me?" And he looks down and he sees his new jacket and he's just like, "Nebraska? Come on." No. But Bo cannot remember his previous life.
That's huge.
Speaking of huge is the size of the mascot. Like, we're talking like, if you've ever seen a furry costume, it's like that, but it's a person with corn yellow hair and a giant cowboy hat that is red on their head with a white N on it, wearing blue overalls and some corn sticking out of their pocket, holding, I think that's a bowling ball. I don't even know. Anyway, but like, so that is the size of the person that steps out onto the football field, or like just appears in the football field. We're in a dream space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my twist, is that this giant mascot is here like 10 feet tall. Giant mascot head, oversized like bobblehead ratio. Definitely
Each
has
step of it.
What does
Sorry.
he look like? Like what kind of mascot? No, but I mean, it's like a person-y. It's not like an animal or anything.
Right. Yeah, it's like a person wearing like a white, almost office work t-shirt and overalls and brown boots with a red hat and a white N, capital N on their hat, and a big old red N on the overalls with corn in their pocket and corn yellow hair. And here's, I don't know if you guys can see this. Like Mickey
It's
Mouse, like
oh god,
that fabric, you know.
Okay.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm holding pictures
just look up the Nebraska. Is it
Corn
Nebraska
Huskers.
University?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Herbie Husker.
look up their Husker mascot. You'll see the full terror raining down upon them.
It truly is terrifying. But Bo, for some reason, he looks over and he holds up one hand and he's like, "Hey, go Big Red." and he's just like, he like looks over to the rest of the group and he just mouths like, "What is going on?"
So my twist is that we have a vector for our nightmare, which is this mascot. In the rule book, it's like you pick one item and you twist it. So it's like ice cream that leads to like world peace or world destruction. And so ours is this costumed mascot. Is there nothing inside? Is there? So like, we'll find out. Twist the mascot.
Well, and then for my twist, let's go ahead and push that in a direction. As we watch, he pulls out a flaming pitchfork and his smile begins to stretch inhumanly wide.
That's round 2 completed. We've done 6 twists.
Yes. You guys can keep going if you want or stop. So we don't necessarily have to break this into rounds. You guys can keep adding twists. Just has to be, one person has to go before the next person can. But so far we've got this dream space where a giant mascot is wearing a stretched grin. I mean, mascots are already pretty unnaturally grinning.
Especially the human ones.
Yeah. So you guys tell me when you're done, and then we will resolve the rest of the mechanic.
Y'all want to do one more?
One more round. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. The grin opens and the like Mickey Mouse hand reaches into the abyss of this mascot's open gaping maw and pulls out a corncob shaped hat, and it approaches us, holding in one hand a corncob shaped hat.
So the worst nightmare for all Nebraskans is anything at all related to the concept of spice or capsaicin. So I think everybody just starts feeling like they had just eaten a very spicy pepper. And so they're like, everybody just kind of starts sweating and people's mouths are on fire and nobody really knows why.
Okay. And I'm going to say, going along with the horror of new mortality, I'm going to say that the mascot puts the corncob hat on Marty's head, and his curls start to fall out and collect on the ground.
Whoa. I think we could do one more round based on that. The corncob hat on Marty is making you taste very spicy. It's now street corn. It's like elote with like pepper spice on it. And as you wear the hat, your mouth is spicy. You don't know what that feeling is. It burns. Your hair is on the ground. And your skin starts to change as it does when you age. It gets thinner and thinner. And then it mutates and morphs into that thick mascot fabric, like felt.
My skin does?
Yeah.
Okay.
And your skin becomes like the texture of mascot uniform. So you're not the pretty young thing you once were. You're now like a horribly deformed puppet mascot thing.
Okay.
No hair, no tooth, no pretty skin. It's like bumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the mascot is approaching us too with those corncob hats to do the same to us.
Okay, well, I'm going to play this back at you guys then. Let's see. I think Sadie has spent her life sort of running away from things. So I'm going to say that the mascot takes his pitchfork now and suddenly spears it down through Sadie's foot, pinning her to the floor.
Pinning her to the grass of the football field. Whoa.
Yeah. She can't run away now.
Whoa.
And your foot hurts.
And the corncob hat is approaching Sadie when Bo.
So I think the mascot comes over, and as he's walking towards Sadie, he throws the husker hat onto Bo, and when it kind of hits his head, it magically kind of puts itself on. And as this is going on, you see Bo's figure just start to get thinner and thinner. And so this mascot hat takes away all of his physical strength, and siphons it into the mascot. So you can see Bo is getting like thinner and thinner until, he's basically skin and bones. And you see that like all of this muscle mass that was taken from Bo has now been pumped up into the mascot. And he's almost like hulking out of his shirt, and like, just like this big, he's walking like this now, and like.
And his skin is as smooth as Marty's once was.
Yes.
I really enjoy the direction this is going in.
I'm not sure what happens next.
Well, it's up to you. Are you guys satisfied with what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's
got
like
a pretty
mascot.
good nightmare going.
Yeah, it like steals your strength and makes you into a mascot so that it doesn't have to be. Whoa.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So now we engage the main mechanic of this game. Please listen to the how to play before listening to this episode so that you can understand the equation that is being used. But the number of twists is one variable. We have 12 twists. And in the Ludus rulebook, there is a table that correlates number of twists to the kind of dice that you roll. So because we have 12 twists, we are going to be rolling 2d12. And we have 3 players, so that is a variable as well. So now that we have those 3 variables, we will roll the dice. Would somebody like to roll 2d12?
2 of them?
Yes, and we have to make sure that one of them is designated as the wild die, because there's additional properties with that one. So
right.
One is regular, one's the wild.
I've got a dice roller pulled up. Let's roll the wild one first. It came up as a 10.
Okay.
And the second one is a 7.
Okay. So we have a 10 and a 7. We need to line that up from lowest to highest, from left to right. So I will note that. 7 and 10.
And we watch her very studiously do math.
Yes, the game file is definitely necessary for this. Okay, so what we do to finish up, we have one more variable in the equation, and that's the number of dice that have the same value as the wild die. So that would have been 10. We only have 1 in that case. So 1's the number. The more twists you have, the more dice you typically get to roll. So there's an incentive to roll more, or to have more twists, so that you have more dice potentially to match the wild die. So let's see. Now we have to find the number of rounds and the success value for the ballad portion. So the ballad portion is going to be just like what we did, but it's going to finish the nightmare. And we'll see if it brings us into reality or if it ends up going back into another dream. Oh no, I can't understand the rules quite as well.
All right, so I've got X parentheses Y at Z D number W, where X is the number of twists, which was 12, parentheses Y, which is the dice to roll based on the number of twists, which is 2d12, at Z, the number of players, which is 3, D, which is the dice that you roll, 1, which is the number of dice that equal the wild dice's value. So I think that it's 2d12 plus 3d1. D1s are just going to be 1, right? So it's just 3. So we have our 2d12, right? And that we roll that. I think that we just multiply the result of rolling 2d12 and adding 3 by 12. So starting from the highest die, we have to find the success value, which is the number we write down next to the @ sign. So there's a success value too. Okay. So
Yeah. So the success value is simpler. If you have more scientists than dice, you can add one to the total for each scientist over. And let's see. So it says starting from the highest die, the one on the far right of the sorted line, add up dice until you have added up a number of dice equal to the number of scientists. So we'd basically have to add up 3 dice values.
So we need 3 D12s right now?
no. They're not D12s.
What
They're
are they?
D matches. That's what the
Yeah.
dice that equal the wild dice's value. So that's D1s. It's not
Yeah.
going to be great for us. Yeah. So we do have, I think it's 3, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not great, guys. So, if our success value is greater than or equal to the number of twists, so it's not, we had 12 twists, then you successfully created the nightmare. If it's less, your modifications to the dream have failed to take hold and fully convert it into a nightmare. It's still twisted, but it will try to act as a normal dream regardless. I think. I don't know.
I think so.
So what does that mean? It like our twists melt away and it starts over in a new dream?
Yes, actually. So typically there is another section called the ballad, which is like, this is how the dream resolves one way or like either into another dream or into another nightmare or into a nightmare, I should say. So normally you have to exceed or equal the success value. But since you guys didn't have that, this will resolve into a dream. The number of rounds you have to do that is, I think, 10. But I think for simplicity, we're just going to say, and for me to have a bit of a roll, I will resolve the dream. Yeah. Now, it's interesting because like reading the rules, it's like, okay, I think I kind of get it. But then actually playing it, it's like I am more confused than I thought I would be. Like the actual twist and improv mechanic makes a lot of sense, but it's harder to really understand the rest of it. So, creator, if you're listening to this, consider this as part of the experience of your game.
This is why nobody should ever do math ever. Just
No.
I like that the game, the TTRPG, is nightmare themed and it's very math based. Like, that's just cute to be like, what do people really fear? Formulas. But anyway,
Yeah.
so game creator,
True.
it could have some more examples rolled.
Yes.
I think more examples make any rule book better. If you've got like a section on here's some examples, and that way it's clear in that section. I think when you put an example like all through the rule book, it makes your rule book really long. But if you have like a section on examples, people can choose to skip it or read it. Like it gives the reader control anyway. So there aren't any examples except for one in this book.
Yeah.
Book,
And
the
it's a
6-page guide. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely a little harder to grasp as you're playing it. So since this is our first time playing it, I'm going to say for the rest of this game, I will just resolve all the dreams. We don't have to worry about that part of the formula. Because I think the main part of it is actually just the improv part. That seems to be the real heart of this game. And that seems to be going pretty well. So because you did not reach the success value to turn this dream into a nightmare, here's what happens. The giant mascot puts a corn husk upon Sadie's head. And as Sadie begins to turn into dust, I would say, she's lived so long and is so, I think, aware of, her own existence. She's still relatively young compared to others, but, she starts to turn into dust and is almost aware of her own mortality, perhaps. The sound of a whistle blaring echoes throughout this space. And this mascot starts to run. The heaviness of its footfalls makes the astroturf shake, and you can see the little granules of that fake dirt pop up into the air with each step. And as it runs away from you and down this long football field, you all are wearing corn husk hats. You've got foam fingers. You're waving in the stands. You are at a Nebraska versus LSU football game, and the crowd's going wild. You're in the Nebraska section. You guys are fans. You're in the opposition's home turf. You've got a small little group of you Nebraska fans showing your loyalty to your team. and you're winning. The Tigers are losing to the Nebraska University team.
Bo looks over at Sadie and Marty and is just like, guys, this hasn't happened since Tom Osborne was coach. This is great.
Yay. Sadie's holding up a foam finger with a one pointing up to the sky. Yeah. And she's going, yay.
Marty's just standing there like, okay, what now?
Wait, no, Sadie's dust. What am I talking about?
Is she still dust, or I thought that's resolved?
No. You guys are all back to how you normally are.
Yes.
You're just wearing Nebraska University's paraphernalia.
Does Bo have his accent back?
Yes, he does.
Okay. So then, I was just going to say, Bo turns to one of these. We're like 3 Nebraska fans in a sea of yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he turns to one of these like LSU fans and he's just like, well, I was from Louisiana, but I actually went to Nebraska for football.
There's a young woman next to you, so you're talking to her. She's got fair skin, blonde hair, and green eyes, and she is wearing a purple and yellow t-shirt and athletic shorts and red slide sandals. And she turns to you and says, why would you go to Nebraska instead of staying in Louisiana?
Well, because they gave me money. I mean, I had to do what I had to do. It's business.
Well, I think in another time I would have understood that, but you're the enemy right now, so can't say I got much grace for you.
Well, end of the day, LSU's number 5 in the AP poll, Nebraska's 1 and 4, so I don't think this is going to matter all that much.
So we're all realizing that this is a dream, correct?
Probably at some point. I think I'll say it's up to you guys at what speed you do that.
Well, I think after that last transition, I think we would pick up on it, especially with the wake up clues.
I think Sadie would count the crystals again, and she would know it's a dream if the crystal that earlier went away, like she licked it and it melted like ice cream, if it was back. Yeah.
Yeah, that crystal is back.
Whew. Relief, but confusion.
I'm going to try something. Let's see if we can take charge of our destinies and steer our dreams in a more positive direction. And Marty is going to close his eyes and focus his will really hard on the last time he went surfing.
Okay. There is a wave that starts on the other side of the arena. There is like people raise their hands and go, woo, wake up. And the wave travels over to you guys and you're caught in this wave. And all of a sudden you are now doused in water. You are caught tumbling in this riptide and you get pulled up, or where you think is up, onto the surface of 3 surfboards. And there is a boat next to you. Or no, not a boat, a jet ski next to you. And that same woman with the fair skin, the blonde hair, and the green eyes rides over to you and says, you guys sure you want to do this? This Maverick, these waves are really wild. I can take you out there, but not sure you really want to get caught up in that.
She's the same woman from the last stream. Do
we recognize that, or?
I'd say you all recognize that. Bo, there is something familiar about her.
I think, so knowing Bo's backstory, I think the fact that we are on the water and Bo was just pulled up from back up to the surface, I think something clicks and he takes a second and he just looks at this person and he's just like, he like takes a second and he's just like staring at this person, like really, probably really, really weirdly.
What, got something on my face? You got something to say?
No, I don't know. All right. Anyway, I don't know. I gotta clear my head. Take us out to these waves.
All right. You guys are hooked up to the jet ski and she starts to take you out. It's bumpy. You guys are getting water all over you, but your wetsuits, thankfully, are protecting you from most of the cold. She takes you to a part of the coast that is relatively smooth, but where you can paddle from there and you can see this oncoming wave. It's dozens of feet tall, maybe even hundreds, just climbing and climbing and getting closer to you.
Oh boy. For a person who doesn't go outside much, this is a lot of outside. I think Sadie is terrified.
Just think of how good this will be for your vision.
I think she, man, like, I think she freezes. Yeah, I think she has that fight or flight freeze response, right? Where she's looking up and up and up, and she had been paddling and kicking to join you guys, and now she's falling behind as she has completely stopped moving, which is bad when you're surfing because clamshell breaks. This is very bad.
Marty again closes his eyes and envisions really hard the image of crystal dolphins popping up out of the water and playfully guiding Sadie through the wave.
There is a burst of light as popping out of the water, the sun glimmers on these crystalline dolphins, so delicate and yet strong. And they come over to you, Sadie, and start to swim with you and by your side.
I do like crystals.
This is now 2 twists.
Yeah, because we can create a positive dream too if we try. I think maybe.
So I think with hearing that from Marty, Bo kind of thinks for a second, and all of a sudden the coast, there's all sorts of like stands that just appear, and there's a bunch of people, and so then you hear from earpieces that are placed inside your ears. You hear announcers, and you hear them say, and here's the final trio of the competition, the 3 most touted surfers in the world going up for their final challenge. And I think with that, we are suddenly much better at surfing.
I think a twist when you're surfing, and you're pretty good at surfing, is that this is the ocean, and like it is very deep and very big, and you are not alone. And as the sun shines from behind, like shining through this giant wave, you don't just see the blue of water, you see a shadow of something in that wave. A very, very large thing in that wave. Kind of like a great white shark silhouette in that wave.
Where are we going with this?
We can end it here, or we can keep going.
Oh, no, I figured DM would always be like, yes or no, how does this happen?
No, this is like part of the game this is all up to the players.
Okay. So, fine. Like I said, Marty is really determined to make this a happy dream. So, this large, dark shape is materializing through the wave. And as it emerges, it turns out it is not a great white shark. It is a whale shark who invites us to ride on his back for this epic surfing competition.
So I think as Bo kind of jumps onto the back of this whale shark, again, you can hear from the beach that the crowd is just going wild. Like this is unprecedented, and you hear as much in from the announcers that you can hear, and it's just like, this is in my 25 years of commentating the surfing championships, we've never seen something like this. And I think now I got to figure out where I want this to go. I think the same person on the jet ski, I think, comes through and is as we're kind of assume all three of us probably get on the shark. And so she comes back with the jet ski and she just hands us big trophies. Like the big ones with like the 3 columns that are like 2.5, 3 feet tall. And we're just like, we're holding them as we're surfing on the whale shark. This was able to give us the victory.
So the woman who is on the jet ski and has given you the trophy, she hands it specifically to you, Bo, and says, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Really, Bo, you've outdone yourself this time.
Well, it's just something. When you see an opportunity, you got to take it.
And I will say, as a little bit of GM discretion, I'm going to add a twist here. Because technically this game is GM-less. So I'm going to add a twist and say, as you and this woman are smiling and talking to one another, it's almost like her face suddenly contorts into one of shock and despair. And she looks right at you, Bo, and says, Bo, you gotta help me. Bo, you gotta find me. I'm in a place called Jishop. You gotta find me.
Jishop?
I think Bo is like snapped out of this for a second. Would I be able, and I know this is not part of the game, but would I be able to just like roll a d20 against myself to see if Bo can like figure out what's going on?
Sure, I'll allow that. Well, what's the chances of it? Is like 50-50, 60-40?
I think I'm going to call it like a DC 14.
Okay.
And so I rolled 17. So I think with this, Bo is like he's snapped out of this kind of like dreamscape for just a second to like be conscious enough to know that this is none other than his friend Camille, who he assumed that he died trying to save her back in the Gulf of Mexico, and so he's just like, Camille, what are you doing here? What do you mean save?
I don't know what I'm doing here, Bo. I don't know what you're doing here. I don't even know why we're seeing each other right now. But you gotta find me. I'm being held captive by this man named Paolo. He's over in Jishop. They're keeping me in the Evanar Institute of Phenomena, extra dimensional something or whatever. You gotta find me, Bo.
I promise it. As soon as I get out here, I'm going.
And as this moment breaks the dream, it starts to fall apart. The shards of water turn into shards of crystal and start to condense, solidify. You guys are still on the surfboards, and you can add additional twists if you want. But because of this break in the dream, it's kind of getting to that point where you noticed last time, it's just like this dream space shatters.
Okay. And the more twists, the better, right? The more chance of us breaking the dream if we have more twists.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
And Marty is aware that this is a dreamscape, and he's going to do everything he can to channel his twists in positive directions because we want to survive this. So Marty is going to focus really hard on turning those shards of ice into fluffy powder snow.
Just a small note. I think we do survive this if we release a nightmare upon the world, by the way. I think that's the condition for winning.
Does it have to be a nightmare, or can it be a positive? Can we unleash a positive dream into the world to escape?
Rules of the game say nightmare. Rules of the GM, who knows?
Well, one person's nightmare may be everybody else's perfect scenario.
Yeah, like free lunches for school children.
Exactly.
Actually, that goes deep.
Oh boy. I think
Okay.
So. The twist for Bo is that he is just very confused seeing Camille and hearing that she is like captive somewhere. So I think that gets Bo angry, and as he gets like angrier and angrier, you see a red glow start to envelop Bo, and as this continues, Bo starts to ignite, and he is now just, and not even like he is on fire, he is just fire.
Oh,
Bo
I can do that too.
Bo has turned himself into a fire elemental. Here we are.
Sadie, do you want to be a fire elemental too?
Can you describe where we are exactly, Jim? I think so. The crystal's shattered, and
they're now in like little puffs, and Bo is now just made of fire, not on fire, but like made of fire.
Are we like in a black void or like?
No, so you're currently suspended above what was once the ocean and the coast. You still have the people in the stands cheering you on. You're still got the headpieces saying like, I've never seen anything like this. You're on the back of a whale shark with like crystal dolphins coming out. But the water is now puffs.
Okay. And my friends have turned into fire.
Yes.
Okay. I close my eyes and I'm like, I think I want to fit in. I'd like to also be fire. But like, you can tell that as a long-eared elf, this is not one of her abilities. And she's not really sure like how to do this. And so she's like, and like she does something that is super not impressive, right? So she closes her eyes and she thinks real hard and her face turns red and she blushes. She's like, me. Fire.
Her face is just permanently red now.
Yeah, it looks like she was scorched.
Yeah, Marty goes ahead and transforms as well. He doesn't turn full fire. That's more his sister. He becomes this like glowing humanoid sunlight thing, right? Think like Apollo. Yeah.
So
All
now
right.
we've got 3 like fire things on a whale shark in hundreds of foot tall puffs. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this whale shark, it also like, I think this whale shark turns into like a crystalline animal. And you know what? I want to get really crazy with it. So here we go. This is the first thing that comes up to my head. So the tail of the whale shark, as this shark turns into crystal, you see the back of it, the tail of the shark, kind of like deform and then reform into, again, I'm just going off the top of my head, like a big, like a afterburner engine, and it is now also spitting flame as all 3 of us are on the whale shark. The whale shark begins to gradually speed up and start outrunning the crystal dolphins as the shark is getting faster and faster, with this just like gout of fire coming from the back of it.
It was a jet engine whale shark.
That was my nickname in high school.
All right. What else should we do to this scene? Let's try to feed Nikamoy. I'm going to focus on turning this giant wave of fluffy snow into a giant wave of cotton candy.
How far does the whale shark have to get from the cotton candy so that the cotton candy doesn't burn?
Does it burn, or does it just kind of melt into like syrup?
I'll take the syrup, I guess.
Yeah, we can have liquid syrup.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
See,
So
but
now-
it's like a Grey Goose situation. Once you turn part of it into syrup, it just keeps expanding.
Mm-hmm.
Note to self, try burning cotton candy, see what happens. Sorry. Anyway.
You said syrup expanding. Do you want to make that as another twist, Bo?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. We got to throw more twists in here. So I think part of the jet engine of this jet engine whale shark ignites some of this cotton candy wave, and as it turns into syrup, as this syrup kind of like liquefies. It liquefies the cotton candy around it, and because it's hot, it's able to expand. And it just it starts from like a small point of liquid that just gradually starts affecting more and more of this cotton candy.
I pulled up a video of people burning cotton candy, and I have bad news for you guys.
Does it
Oh, is
ignite?
it not good?
It is not good. Okay, so first I'd like to preface this with never touch hot sugar.
Oh, yeah, it'll burn you.
It doesn't just burn you, it sticks to you and becomes one with your flesh as it is burning. So I'm watching a video of cotton candy burning, and it turns out that first thing that happen is that the cloud goes away and you get these little bubbles of like light brown, and then they catch on fire. And now you've got this like burning mass of black, like expanding. It does expand, like not as much as a marshmallow, but it definitely is expanding. Burning mass of black expanding, sticky, high temperature, death touching thing. So as the jet engine touches the cotton candy, I'd like to say that my twist is weirdly a bit of realism in this jet engine whale situation, as the cotton candy closest to the jet engine sticks in the jet engine and is gunking it up, and the pressure is building and building and building in that jet engine now. There we go.
How many twists are we at right now?
My count is 14. You can do a maximum of 20.
Do we want to keep going?
I want to blow
2
up a
more
whale.
per person?
I am going to focus on making this whale fly so that it is above the level of the cotton candy. Again, happy thoughts, guys. Happy thoughts.
Why? It's a nightmare game.
All right. I'll throw one in. So as this whale starts to ascend above the sea of cotton candy, you see you see like a 17th century pirate ship just come into view, and it starts like shooting its cannons at us. And you can see from the helm, there's like a pirate captain, again dressed for the garb. So like, he's got the long beard, and he's got the bird on his shoulder, the hat, the eye patch, the hook for a hand, and in the other hand he's holding a cutlass, and he just like, avast ye. He's just like pointing the ship towards us as these cannons are firing.
The pirate ship sets out a gangplank and is going to board the whale. Pirates start rushing over the gangplank with their cutlasses raised.
All the while, the engine gets more and more gummed up.
Oh, we rose above the cotton candy, though. I wish.
Yes, it's flying.
We're at 17.
Ooh, I got one.
Go.
So we meet the pirates, and we find that these are the pirates from the movie Stardust.
I love
Anyone
that
remember them?
movie.
And of course, we meet the captain, which is Robert De Niro in full drag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that happened.
Of course, that's what it was. He was just too far away for us to see that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think my final twist here is going to be that all of a sudden the pirate ship is rocked by a very large cotton candy tentacle that sticks out and like hits the deck, and it sends like wood splintering everywhere, and the pirate captain looks over and he says, I can't do a Robert De Niro accent, so I'll just do a pirate one. And he says, "Yar, the cotton candy kraken be attacking."
Oh,
Nice. We're at 19.
The very last twist has got to be the Kraken, which is made out of cotton candy, rising in flames with blistering black burning cotton candy making up, like, the suckers. They're very sticky. and it rises up out of the mass of cotton candy, and it reaches out a tentacle towards us on the whale, and how it resolves will determine what happens.
Okay. Excellent. That was awesome. So we've got 20 twists, and because of 20 twists, we can roll 4d10. Who would like to roll 4d10?
I think something this game doesn't consider is that it thinks higher dice are always better. But when you're trying to match dice, the probability of matching goes from 25% with a D4 to 10% with a D10, which is less than half. So like, I am not sure the creator considered that matching dice becomes less likely the more dice you have. Like the higher dice faces, the more dice faces you have, the higher dice value you have. So it's actually like more likely. I think there's a sweet spot, right, where you have more than one D4, and that is the best number of twists for getting matches. And explosions are also more likely to happen so explosions are when the dice face is the maximum number for the die. So a D4 is 25% chance of explosion. A D10 is 10% chance of explosion. So the explosions are higher. You guys, we need to do a nightmare or / dream that uses the most number of D4s. Let me check that table now. Our next night, not this one, but our next nightmare should have, how many twists is this? There's never a multi D4 situation. I think 7 twists is the sweet spot, 1D8 and 1D6. Let's do 7 next time. Anyway, keep going, GM. Sorry.
No
Yay,
worries.
metagaming.
I mean, it's kind of unavoidable when you introduce math to the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always like a... So I rolled my 4d10.
Okay.
I got a 7, I got 2 8s, and the wild dice is a 9.
So close to explosion.
You know, also what I think is part of it? I think everybody rolls the dice.
Oh.
I don't remember reading that in the rules.
Maybe
Hold
I made that up, and I know we can explore this when we break. But I feel like it's one of those things where everybody rolls the amount of dice that we have. The reason why it just, I don't know, maybe I read it wrong, maybe I'm like interpreting the rules wrong, but it just seems like for example, if there's 3 of us as scientists, and we're like, let's say we each put in 1 twist, it's only like 1D, like it's only 1D6. It seems to me like, unless everybody rolls, it seems to me like if everybody rolls a dice, or if only one person rolls the dice, even if it's like 4d10, like how we did just now, it's like very hard to get the actual success value, because the that last number, that Z in the formula that we were talking about, it's always like 1 or 2, and like you need that number to be like, because you multiply it out, like it basically, if it's only 1, it basically is like as if it doesn't exist. And so you would, like, in this scenario, we actually might be able to do it with the total number of dice I rolled. It's a 32 total, but like, it's one of those things where if we have like 5 players, but we're only rolling 1d8, like, I don't think there's any mathematical way to get a success. And like in this example, you know, we rolled 4d10, so like there's a, like, I don't know how to do the math, but it's like 10% to the 4th power. So it's like it's basically like 1 in 10,000 to get to get 4 exploding dice. Whereas like if we're all rolling, it's like that probability is like multiplied by 4. I forget exactly how to do it, but like that's why I think we all roll the dice. I also think when I was like calculating this out like a couple days ago in the group chat, I was like, yes, there's 4 people and we have however many twists, so we all rolled 2d12, and so there's like 8 numbers.
Yeah, so I think the wild die was a 9, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the way that success value is calculated, you add up so like we have 3 people playing. And so it would be starting from the right-hand side, adding up 3 dice. So it'd be 9 plus 8 plus 8. And so that adds up to, if I can do simple math, 25, which is greater than the number of twists. So I think that actually succeeds, if I'm reading the rules correctly.
Oh.
But
Yes.
So adding to what you were saying, I think it is possible. You just have to get really lucky and roll on the higher end of dice. But I also think that part of the game is like to use this as a mechanic. And so if you like end the dream and successfully turn it into a nightmare, then it's like, well, the game's over. So it might have been a way. So like just rolling one set of the dice might be a way to keep using the mechanic. But I think in that case, it probably needs to be like it needs to be tweaked a little bit.
I could almost see this being played like 2 ways. Like the first way is like everybody rolls dice and it's kind of like a party game, almost like an improv thing where, you know, if everybody's rolling dice, then more likely than not, it's going to be like, it's going to end up being a nightmare. I forget exactly. I think it is just like you have to beat the number of twists. So maybe it's like one of those things where you like, if everybody's rolling dice, like you multiply the twist value by something, but like the way we're doing it, it's like a much longer, like a longer form thing. So I think it then would make sense if we just do it where one person rolls the dice so that the game like goes on for longer.
Yeah. So that would succeed. And actually, I think since we've done a bit of table talk, we will resolve the dream after this break. Joining us today were Beau Doucette.
Well, this is something, all right.
Marty Flame.
It's really something.
And Sadie Duca.
Sadie's breathing a little fast as she is more afraid than she is willing to let on.
And I think we also have a review or note for a review from somebody.
Yes. So before we go, so we currently don't have any new reviews on iTunes. However, if you go ahead and you review us on iTunes or wherever you are listening to this podcast and can review it, we will read it out and we will make sure to thank you very much for the review.
Great. We'll see everyone soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is, quote, "Shout out to my grandparents, Isabella and Raul, for the invaluable life lessons and cherished memories. Your legacy lives on in our hearts." End quote. Thank you for supporting our show. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out, everybody, at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. Or you can support us by buying our paperback, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. If monetary support isn't how you like to support art, that's okay. You can also pick an episode of Fire Breathing Kittens that made you smile and share it with someone you know. Telling them about it would help us grow. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of Fire Breathing Kittens, where we're playing Ludus Nightmares into Reality. There's a dream we have to remember so that we can resolve it. And now I'm actually there was so much going on with that dream. There was a cotton candy tsunami coming behind a jet engine powered flying whale shark that Beau, Sadie, and Marty are riding upon. And they're getting somewhat accosted by a pirate ship captained by Robert De Niro and Drag. And there is now a cotton candy kraken tentacle coming down upon the ship. This is the dream that our players, our characters have concocted. And because in the last part of this, we did resolve whether or not this succeeded into turning it into a nightmare, it did succeed into turning into a nightmare. So as much as Marty did try to create a positive direction for this dream resolves as a nightmare. The cotton candy kraken tentacle comes down, and as it does, it catches some of the flame from the jet engine of the whale shark. This is now burning sugar, and it slams into the deck of the ship. it's like napalm. It spreads and it sticks and it burns and it melts. These people start to cry out and they fall from the ship down, down, down into the cotton candy waves. And you three see a massive glob of this burning cotton candy headed right towards you on the back of the whale shark. Just as it's about to hit you, you realize that you're sitting. It's sunny outside. It's very pleasant weather, very mild. The trees are in bloom. It's that season where spring's just starting to come in, but the trees haven't started pollinating yet. You're on a grassy lawn. There's a large estate or a large estate in the background. And there are a bunch of people milling about on this lawn. There's slight bits of chatter, the tinkling of glasses and of laughter. You guys are in a springtime garden party.
Oh man, Sadie's freaking out.
As a result of the nightmare, I will say that you guys are completely aware of what transpired in the last dream and that you guys are now in a completely different dream.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Y'all remember that, right? The whole thing with like the surfing and the whale shark and the jet engine, cotton candy? That ain't just me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, and Bo looks around and sees just like people milling about. Can he like vaguely recognize anybody in that, like, can he tell that, like, are we in Nikamui or are we in somewhere else completely different?
No, it definitely looks like it's Nikamui. There are a wide diversity of people here, but you do see that there are 3 Macritus elves, the same kind of elf that Sadie is, and they seem to be the host. There are 2 women and a man, and they're going around, talking with people, chatting, all of that, being good hosts.
Do I recognize these people?
You recognize 2 of them. You recognize your mother, Gianna, and your father, Matteo.
Oh, I don't recognize the 3rd Macritus elf?
You do not.
Ooh. I'm curious enough to stop panicking. And I don't think I've been with Fire Breathing Kids a little bit at this point. I don't think it's actually my mom and dad. Like, this wouldn't be the first dream garden party with my mom and dad that I've been at. So, last time I was in a dream garden party with my mom and dad, I tried to stay so long that they turned into zombies and rushed towards me. So this time, I'm not going to fall for it. But I will ask, Mom? Dad? Who's that?
They both look at you when you mention their name. They're very, happy and say, Sadie, hello. But when you ask who's that, they look confused, and the woman, who looks very similar to you, kind of giggles and laughs. It's like, oh, Sadie, always going on like that. And your mother says, honestly, I remember you saying this when you were children, but I thought you'd give up the game of not recognizing your own sister.
I'm writing down notes. Mom, dad, ghost sister. Okay. Meanwhile, Sadie's starting to dissociate, which is very dangerous. She, her face becomes more stoic, but her heartbeat is way high. Like she's like, right, my sister. But she's losing it. She's breaking down.
I think Bo is gonna catch this, and he's just gonna walk over to Sadie and be like, "Hey, family reunions are great, aren't they? Why don't we go get some some food and drinks for the family?" And Bo kind of like looks over at Sadie. It just like flashes her a look like, "Hey, y'all good?"
Sadie looks back at you desperately. She is not all good.
Okay, why don't we Hey, Marty, why don't you come too? I think we're gonna need a couple of sets of hands here. And Bo just kind of like gets Sadie away from the situation.
Yeah, I got 2 of those.
So as you're walking away, your dad just says out real quick, well, just make sure you don't go too far too long. I know that you tend to not like these social things, Sadie, but I hope you'll stay and speak with all the guests, and make sure you take your sister around to meet her fiance soon.
Fiance? And she would never stutter with her own parents, but these people are strangers to her, which just like compounds everything. And she's like, of course, I do forget, was that, Bob or Phil? Which one, again, was engaged to my sister?
Your sister laughs again, and your mom just kind of sighs and says, it's Hudson, dear.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. So she's got so many stressors right now. Failure to perform in a social situation, interacting with strangers who aren't her parent. And then that's her fiance.
Oh.
She's like, oh, of course. How could I forget? Like, flees with you, Bo. Just flees.
I think once we're kind of out of the way, Bo is just like, okay, I've seen enough to know that something is not right here. I assume, I don't know, something about that's not your sister, or she doesn't have a fiance or something. I don't want to stress you too much, but...
Well, we think we're in another dream, right?
I mean, I guess.
We have to be. We knew that the last one was a dream. We were able to affect it by willing things. So, how do we want to change this one?
I want to wake up.
How do we wake up?
You start hearing people just turn to you and say, wake up.
Oh, I don't like this one bit.
Marty pinches himself this time.
Still hurts. Still there.
Hey, Bo, you look sturdy, right?
We sure hope so. That's my whole business.
Hold still.
Okay.
And Marty just rears back and just slaps him across the face as hard as he can.
Bo, you are seeing some stars. But there is a little bit of a consciousness break. So are any of you 3 lucid dreamers? Like in real life? Are the players lucid dreamers?
No.
Okay.
I don't dream at all.
What are dreams?
No, I don't.
So I am a lucid dreamer, and it's kind of hard to put into words what this feels like. But Bo, it's like there is a switch that goes on. You are suddenly aware of you're aware of the logic of the dream, if that makes sense. You're like, you understand the system. Whereas before you were just a participant and kind of had some insight into like, oh, well, something I want manifests in one way or another. You're now aware of like, I can change this however I want and not just get something to happen, but to get a particular outcome.
Okay. So I think then Bo is going to be like, wait, hold on. I think that did something. And he's going to will for like, he's going to attempt to will for like a portal.
What is the purpose of this portal?
All right. So I think consciously Bo is like, we need to get back to Nikamui. So I want to create a portal back to the real Nikamui. But subconsciously, Bo is like, I want to get back home. So I think Bo, like this, if it is allowed, the portal manifests, but like where Bo is like consciously thinking, I want this to go back to Nikamui. Subconsciously, he's like, I want this to go back home to New Orleans, Louisiana, in the real world.
The portal shifts. It appears suddenly, and it's like everybody else just kind of accepts that it's there. But you can see that it shifts between the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall and are you a student at LSU?
Yes.
Your dorm at LSU then.
Oh no, what did I do? Well, yo, I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is this might be our ticket out of here. The bad news is I don't know what quite is gonna happen. And he kind of points is this kind of shifting landscape visible for everybody else?
Yes, it is. It's one of those things where all of the other people are just like, they're now avoiding it. They're like commenting, it's like, oh, how interesting. And then they keep going along with whatever conversation they were having. And it's only you three who realize that like, oh, this is part of the dream. And then Bo, even more so, it's like, whatever I want this to take me will take me there.
I'm feeling an eddy coming again.
So I think that maybe if we go through here, I think we'll do what we got to do.
Okay.
I think for you two, it's going to be easier than for me. I feel like.
Why?
Well, as you can see, it's going from, you can see the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild there, and that's my dorm back where I'm originally from. Now, on the one hand, I do want to go home. I got practice to get to. I got stuff to do back there, but I don't know if I can quite leave Nickaboo yet. That person on the jet ski in the past dream, she's from my world too, and I think when I got sent here, I think she also got sent here. Told me that she was being held captive somewhere in Jishop, I think. So
yeah, that's a city.
I think I gotta go back there before I go home. I can't come home empty-handed.
Was she important to you?
She's been one of my best friends since long as I can remember. Well, I mean, we grew up together. We went to school together, and I mean, when this all happened, we were out on a fishing boat, and we were just hanging out. Storm came through, boat capsized, and well, I saw her fall into the water, and next thing I know, I jumped right in there and I got her. And then, well, I blacked out after that, but I woke up not too far from Gaudy Lou out here.
Well, I don't have anything better to do. I'm certainly let's go through the portal to the guild hall and let's go to Jishop.
I mean, I don't want to bring y'all into that, but if you're willing to help me, I'm not going to say no.
I think Sadie like flees through the portal, like at high speed to Jishop. She's just like, let's get out of here. Like she's like, her fingernails are digging bloody half moons into her palms as she like is very, very, very tense here. And she's like, I'll help you. Run.
So question for you, Bo, then. Is this portal still showing the guild hall or the dorm, or is it showing Jishop?
I think for a second, it was like immediately it was like maybe 75-25 dorm to the guild hall. As Bo was thinking about it, the dorm kind of fell away, and for a minute it was just showing the guild hall like just straight up. But I think as we walk into it and as Bo kind of realizes, that, oh, wait, we can just cut out a step, I think it then materializes into Jishop. And if we go through, that's where we end up.
Okay. So just for you guys to note, this is the portal coming, like appearing, was twist 1. The changing of the location to Jishop is twist 2. You three walk through the portal, and right before you do, everybody turns to you and says, wake up. And you walk through the portal. Having spoken of Jishop, those of you who have grown up in the world of draws might have expected to come to another port city, to be out on the docks or maybe outside of the gates. Instead, where you are is a darkly lit corridor. It's about 10 by 10, and there is a wall behind you, and it only goes forward. There is no source of light except for single bits of fire in the ceiling every 10 feet.
Can you describe the fire?
It's very small. It's almost like it's a marble, like a size of a marble, and you can see that there's fire flowing inside of it, and it gives off a very soft glow.
Okay, and these are in the ceiling, and otherwise we're stuck in this room.
Correct. It's a corridor, so it keeps going in front of you, but it is a dead end behind you.
I think I have a feeling how endless corridors go in Dreamscapes. Let me try something. And so he's a fire elemental, so he is going to try to tune into the fire marble and just make it expand.
Okay.
He's trying to burn a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah. No, interesting choice. So as that happens, the ceiling, like the part of it that holds this marble, starts to grow and stretch. It doesn't actually burn. The corridor just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Is there an opening in the ceiling now?
Yes, there is an opening.
Who wants a boost?
Sadie would love a boost. She looks excited to be out of here, and she looks a bit panicked.
All right, I'm going to give Sadie a boost up through the hole in the ceiling.
What does she see?
So what you see is now, instead of a corridor, it is a room completely white. There is light shining from every corner directly onto the walls, floor, and ceiling. And it's just completely textureless and featureless.
I lay down on the ground and I stick my head through the hole and I describe the room to my friends.
It's almost hard to see Sadie's head because like her face and hair are so pale that it almost blends in with the white of the ceiling.
Is that worse or better than the endless corridor?
I think worse because at least the corridor has a way to go forward. So can you catch me?
I'll always catch you.
I fall through the hole.
I catch her.
Yay.
All right, well, attempts were made. Should we walk down this corridor?
Yeah. She looks unhappy about that. Yes.
Yeah, I guess the only way forward is forward.
You guys start walking, and it's the same thing no matter how long you walk. Marty and Sadie aren't aware of the time. It's almost like every time you take a step, it's like, okay, I've got to walk. Okay, I've got to walk. Like the thought process restarts. But for you, Bo, because you're lucid, you start to recognize it's a loop. You're just looping in space somehow.
I think after a certain amount of time, Bo just kind of stops and is just like, "Hey, Marty, remember a little while ago when we were at that garden party and you hit me?
Yeah.
Let me quick return the favor."
Marty braces himself.
And Bo is just gonna just do the same, slap Marty as hard as he can.
Yeah. With a hefty hit, you have that same consciousness break. You're not just a participant in the dream anymore. You're an active director of it. And you do recognize you're not in Jishope. You're in a dreamscape of this place. You do know that you are in Jishope, but this is like a place within the city. And this is a corridor within that place.
But we're stuck in a loop.
Yes.
Of that corridor.
Correct.
The question, how to get out of a loop? Well, actually, first off, Bo, how do you feel about hitting women?
On the record, that is not something that I do.
I'm gay. I'm allowed. and he slaps Sadie.
Yep. You get that same starry feeling. Your face gets red and you're now lucid as well.
Oh, man. Sadie sees Tweety birds floating around her head like a Looney Tune.
Okay. So here's an idea. We tried going up. There's a never-ending loop, and there's a wall behind us, correct?
Correct.
What if we try to escape out of the loop through that wall?
I've heard stranger things before.
So Marty is going to try to blast his way through. He holds out a hand and gets a like concentrated beam of sunlight, kind of like a magnifying glass kind of thing. And try to blast a hole through that wall.
Would you say that this is something you're manifesting as part of the dream, or something you're trying to do as like, this is what you would do in real life?
Real life. This is one of his abilities.
Okay. So it hits the wall and there's a little bit of impact there. Not as though it's melted, but as though it were like hit by a ball or something like that. But it doesn't do anything else.
Okay. Marty is going to focus his will and concentrate on there being a door in that wall.
What is the purpose of this door specifically?
To escape from this loop into the actual city of Jishop.
Okay. A door appears in this dead end wall, and there's a window on it, and you can see through the window ocean and harbor.
I try to open the door.
A blast of sea wind hits you and knocks the rest of the door open, and you're free to walk onto the docks of Jishop.
Shall we?
All right.
Yeah.
The city is entirely empty of people.
Darn.
There is no one around, but you can hear on the wind, "Wake up."
I'm trying.
I would if I could.
We still need to wake up. I'm going to slap Bo again.
That doesn't do anything more. It hurts, though.
Let's twist
He tries
it.
4 more times.
Let's add twists. I think that's how we get out of here, right?
Maybe.
So Sadie will add a twist of we're at the seashore, right? And there's nobody here in this entire city, right? And all of the houses are made out of gingerbread.
All right. I'll throw it in here. So that sea breeze that we smelled, it goes from kind of salty to very, very saccharine. And the water turns from like a clear blue to an even more like an artificial blue. And now the water is, I have replaced the water fountains with blue Gatorade.
Okay.
This is like that movie where, why is everybody sick? We're not drinking water. We're drinking Flavorade or whatever. I forget it was.
It's what plants crave.
It's what plants crave.
Electrolytes.
Who's the smartest person we know?
Well, there's only 3 of us here. Do you mean like someone who's not here right now?
Yeah.
Probably Nulisag, because he always gets us out of trouble.
Okay. I'm going to imagine that Nulisag pops into existence here.
A door of a gingerbread house opens and out steps Nulisag. He is for some reason wearing a top hat with a candy cane coloring and a gumdrop button suit. But other than that, it's the Nulisag you know.
Nulisag, we're trying to wake up. Do you have any ideas?
Well, why don't you just wake up?
So helpful.
How?
Well, if you haven't been able to wake up already, doesn't that mean there's something keeping you asleep?
Okay, probably. We tried hitting each other.
I think we have to hit each other's souls. It's more than just hitting each other in the face. We got to hit each other in the soul.
All right. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe we shouldn't be trying to go positive. Maybe we need to do something terrifying. All right.
I think I got something terrifying.
Go for it.
Okay. So, all of a sudden we see a gingerbread scoreboard pop up from the from the ground, and you see on one side it says LSU 0 and on the other side it says Alabama 223. and you feel like the ground start to shake as from an alley comes a horde of these crimson colored elephants, and they're pouring out of the alley.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bo kind of looks at the group and says, "All right, I suggest we start running. This was the most terrifying thing that I could think of."
I can think of better. All right. So, Marty starts to focus and the scene around us shifts. You see the LSU football team giving away all the trophies, emptying out the trophy cases. And there is a news reporter on the sidelines telling everyone that the team has been exposed by Sadie for doping and have lost every award and accolade they've ever received. And now Sadie will be going around on talk shows and on, all these parties. And she is going to be this social center telling everyone how she found out about the doping scandal.
Bo falls to his knees sobbing.
Sadie falls to her knees as well, and I think she faints for a second. I think she just collapses.
I think Bo also faints for a second.
She does stand back up, but it's almost like her brain broke for a second. She's just like, nope, peace. And she just fugued and just nope, I just would rather not.
I think with this, Bo is like, all right, you know what? You want terrifying? Fine. And Bo snaps his fingers, and all of a sudden, it starts blizzarding in this scene. And Bo was just like, fine. All right. You want terrifying? I just made summer never exist.
Oh. Let's see how to respond to that.
As all of this is
happening. How many twists are we at?
Yeah, you're at 10 twists. So as all of this is happening, Nulasag has just been as the twists have been getting worse and worse, he just starts cackling maniacally. She's like, wake up! Wake up!
I think we got to keep going.
It's up to you guys.
I thought the magic number was 7, so we're past that. Is there another good number?
Oh, no. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was like, how many are we at?
I stopped doing... We're at 10?
We're at 10.
Yeah, you're at 10.
I want to do a negative twist.
I don't know if... You know what? Sure, why not? I'll allow it.
The gingerbread... I'm -2 twists. The gingerbread and the Gatorade, a sparkles falling away, resolve into normal concrete and water. Or wood, I guess, and water. As if the stars are going out, monochrome instead of colorful and happy.
Okay.
All right. I think we're at the sweet spot now.
12? Okay.
No, that was negative. So we're at
8.
We're at 8. We just need one more negative twist. Just undo one twist.
Oh.
But make it scary.
Undo a twist, but make it scary.
Nulasag explodes, and little confetti candy, like a piñata, rains down upon the town.
Oh, my God.
Sure.
Oh, God. Yeah, that works.
All right, lock it in.
7. We're at 7.
Okay, so we got 7. And for 7 twists, it's 1d8 plus 1d6. And we have
The lowest
3 players.
dice.
Yeah, the lowest dice we can roll, which maximizes our matching odds.
1 6 and 1 8.
Yes.
And the 6 is
All right.
wild, which means we have a 16.6 repeating chance of getting a match and an explosion. Or an explosion,
All right,
not a match.
My 6 was a 5.
Yeah.
And my 8 is an 8.
That's such a shame.
We gamed the system so hard.
So based on that, though, so it would be count the number of dice. So, we have a 5 and an 8 and 3 players. So we automatically just add up all the dice. 8 plus 5 is, don't tell me, 13.
I was like, I'll tell you.
No, don't tell me.
I can do that math.
We've got 3 players. Oh, it's the number of twists, 7 twists. This dream successfully turns into a nightmare. All 3 of you have terrors beyond, well, maybe not beyond your imagining, but terrors that resonate with your soul. And finally, you start to hear the wake up, wake up, wake up. And it's not something you hear. It's something that it's almost like it's a command that you're giving yourself. You realize that everyone telling you to wake up has been your subconscious way of trying to get yourselves to wake. And the only way to do that was to become lucid and to create something so terrifying that you would want to escape. You all jolt awake in a rush of adrenaline in the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. It's one story with a few people milling about and 1 or 2 job flyers on the board for today. Nulusag comes down the stairs carrying 2 or 3 pieces of paper, drags over a chair, and starts pinning up quests on the job board.
Is he wearing a top hat?
No, he's not. He's wearing his usual garb.
Is he made out of gingerbread?
No, he's not.
I wonder if one...
Oh, go ahead.
I wonder if one of these job postings is about a missing person.
I'll take a look, but as I do, I'm going to quickly lick Nulusag just to make sure that he's not made out of gingerbread.
No. You catch him by surprise, and he nearly topples off the chair. What are you doing, Bo?
Well, that's how we greet our elders in Louisiana. We give them a nice little lick on the arm.
Well, I would very much appreciate it if you never did that again.
Okay.
What did he taste like?
He tastes like Nulusag.
He clears his throat. Well, now that that's out of your system, apparently, here, you can take a look at some of the newer jobs. And some of them are kind of dull. You know, you can find an artifact here, go and save somebody there. One that does catch your eye, though, is it has a heading. It seems to be more of a flyer than anything else, kind of like what you would see around college campuses where it's like, hey, sign up for this study, take this tag if you'd like to participate. You see the top header says Annual Evanara Institute of Extra-Dimensional Phenomena. We are looking for volunteers to participate in our extra-dimensional experiments. If you are of sound mind and body, please send a letter to Paolo Evanara, and it gives an address in Jishop. We will be happy to give you more information.
I think Bo pulls it off of the board and kind of waves it around, and he's like, wait a second. This is the thing. This is the person that has Camille.
Well, let's go.
I think Sadie still thinks she's dreaming. So she's both going with you and there's a look in her eye. It's a different look than you've seen in her eye before. And she's getting she's spacing out in a weird way. She's not quite here all the way. So she's like, yes, we're going to Jishop. Of course we are. We're totally going to Jishop. But she doesn't believe that she's going to Jishop. She's just she's fast forwarding on her life. If you've ever felt that way. If I can just get through this moment,
Well, you're right. We don't know. We've been through multiple dreams and we picked up on how they work. We can test if this is a dream, though.
That is true.
Right? Marty starts imagining a clown in the middle of the guild hall.
There is no clown that materializes.
Okay, we might be back.
Okay. 10% more belief that this is reality.
Ooh, we can test this out. Hold on. Who has some paper? We have a bunch of paper. There's a bunch on the... I rip one of the random flyers off of the wall and set it down on a plate on the bar. And I focus a beam of intensified sunlight from my hand on it.
Is this an ability you'd have in real life?
Yes,
Okay.
He is a personification of summer. He has control over fire and water magic, although his fire magic is a little bit more sunlight based.
Gotcha. A A beam of sunlight hits the paper and it starts to glow. But you do notice that as the sunlight hits the paper, the text that was on there, it's almost like there's a different set of text that appears.
What does it say?
It says, "One more time, and then I can set you free."
Crap, we are still dreaming.
Sadie laughs for far too long. She's still laughing. She's still laughing.
Wait, do you think we signed up for this trial already? Is that what happened?
Oh, no. Oh, I
and
don't
we
like
just don't
that.
remember?
Oh, that is messing with my head right there.
All right, let's go find out.
Hang on, real quick. Hit me again.
I hit him.
It's kind of weird. You're already in a lucid state. It is as though you are thinking and experiencing things as though you are in reality. There is no sense that you are in a dream, which makes it even odder.
It took me a second to realize you weren't talking about the aquatic animal. Now I want an otter.
I'll say stranger instead.
All right, well, that was my plan. That didn't work. I think we got to go to Jishop.
Yeah, let's go.
You guys are fast forwarded to Jishop. The town is alive and well. There are people everywhere. And it seems particularly normal. The only odd thing is that you just got here very quickly. You don't really remember the journey here.
Bo is once again going to kind of go find an area where he can go find the ocean, bend down, grab like a handful of water and taste it to make sure it's not Gatorade.
Oh, it's so salty and briny. You spit it out almost immediately.
Does that mean it is or is not Gatorade?
Nope, that's not it. I don't know what to believe anymore.
All right, we have an address, right?
That we do.
Let's start by going there.
Okay.
You find yourselves, again, not quite remembering how you got there, in a small front room, like a waiting room. There's a secretary there, a small halfling man who looks to be on the more senior side. And there are a couple more people, generally younger people, sitting around in the waiting room, reading magazines, books, chatting quietly.
I think Bo walks up to the receptionist and he's just like, "Hey there, I need to have a chat with one Mr. Paolo here."
Oh, I'm Paolo. Oh, are you here to sign up for the trials?
You're Paolo, huh?
Yep, that's what my name tag says.
Bo grabs him by like the collar and like pulls him up so he's like eye to eye, and he's just like, "Where is she?"
His eyes go wide and his face flushes red, and he says, "Don't worry, she's safe. Don't worry. She told me about you. Figured you'd find us here eventually. I swear she's all right. I can bring her in here if you want."
I think Bo very slowly kind of sets Paolo down and is just like, "Yeah, that would be nice. You should go do that."
He clears his throat, straightens up his shirt, and says, "Well, you heard him, didn't you?" And coming from behind you, as though she was in the room the entire time, Camille says, "Yeah, I heard him."
I think Bo flips around and he's just like, he's speechless.
Camille just kind of gives a, "Well, what are you going to do?" shrug. I mean, "Hey, Bo."
Hey, Camille, how'd you get here?
Same way as you, I guess. Something pulled us down, and next thing I knew, I was on the shores of this city. And Paolo found me, brought me to this place. They've been keeping me ever since. Where'd you end up?
Well, I ended up shores of some city. Kind of reminded me of home a little bit. It's called Gardelou.
Never heard of it, but guess I'm not a native here. Look, are you doing all right?
Well, I mean, not really, but I found you, and I mean, that's why I was here. I had a chance to go home, but I said, no, I gotta find you first, so we're here.
That's why I always liked you, Bo. Never go back on a promise. Listen. And she kind of gives a side eye over to Paolo, and you can see he kind of gives like a small nod of permission. And she tells you, I don't think they're going to let me out of here for a long time. They say we're some part of a plan, a thing, extra dimensional, whatever. But they want to keep me here. And they probably want to keep you here too. So you're here because of me. I'll let you go. But you got to break this. Now.
I think Bo is just kind of like standing there. And he's just like, no. I'm here. I'm here for you. No.
You're not in the right place though, Bo. And you can see that there is a crack that begins to form between you three and Camille. And it starts to widen. She says, you gotta be in the right place. I did what I could to try and reach you now, try and find you. But you gotta get me in the real place.
I think Bo's just like looking, like he has no idea what's going on. He's just like looking, he's like trying to reach. I imagine he is trying to like jump across.
Mm-hmm. I think he starts to fall into this ever widening fissure. And Camille just looks down at you as you begin to fall. You gotta wake up, Bo.
Not again. Honestly, I would think that this moment in and of itself is like absolutely just terrifying. Like even more so than like the whole, like football doping. This is truly his worst nightmare.
And as you fall, that darkness encloses you. And then you open your eyes. You're not in the guild hall. You're in whatever room you stay in. And the morning sun is just starting to shine through. Sadie and Marty, you open your eyes and find yourselves in whatever place you sleep in. The morning sun is starting to shine through.
For Sadie, that's her bedroom. It looks a bit like the royal bedroom drawings of your favorite manhwa, your favorite fantasy manhwa. It's got those, I don't know what they're called on walls, but it's like molding, not on the edge of the wall, but in like a wall that makes little boxes. And there's like boxes on your wall, like molding. And then like, yeah. And then like, I think I learned the word rococo recently. There's like rococo, like swirls at the top. And like, there's a big standing mirror, of course, with a gold frame. And so, and like her bed has like posts. It's like 4 posts and like gauzy fabric around the 4 posts to keep the light out. A giant stuffed animal, of course.
I'm just in a hammock.
Yeah, the hammock is a little bit singed. It's almost like you had a pretty stressful dream that night.
I love that your bed sheets get burned when you flame a little bit and you're stressed in your sleep.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that you guys do finally have that, oh no, this is reality sort of feeling. And you all remember that series of dreams. And Bo, the last thing I'll leave you with is that echo from Camille. Wake up, wake up. And unless anybody has anything else they want to add, we can end today's game here.
I think I do have one thing I want to add, which is that the room I've described is indeed where Sadie lies. But as the camera zooms past that fabric of the 4-poster bed, her eyes aren't opening. And her beautiful, pure white elf hair on her wide ears, she's breathing gently. She's still sleeping. It's almost like maybe she woke up a bit too far. And she's not here in this place. Maybe she's somewhere else. Maybe she's on a different plane. But you can definitely see that she's not waking up. Like, this is an unconscious body, right? And it's empty. She is empty of everything that makes her Sadie. And
oh, it's that time of the season.
It's that time of the season. Emptiness creates an opportunity. And as her eyelids flutter and she looks around, she goes, "Hark, What light through yonder window breaks? Where art, what? I bethought I was dead. And you're like, that's not Sadie. Who's that? She steps up from the bed and she, of course, stands in front of that full body mirror that you gotta have in every reincarnation manhwa.
Yeah.
Because looking at her elf white hair and her wide Mactus elf ears with an expression of not recognition on her face, but like, whoa, I'm so pretty, is the next character. All right. Meet her in an upcoming.
Exactly. Yeah. Tune in to the next episode that Sadie's player plays in, because that's not Sadie anymore. Joining us today were Beau Doucette.
Oh, that was a doozy one right there.
Marty Flame.
Uh-huh. Yep, got all my teeth still.
And Sadie Duca.
Fare thee well.
Goodbye.
It's that part of the show where we tell you about a podcast you might enjoy. Have you heard of Garden Fork Radio? Garden Fork Radio is about topics like making things, DIY, urban homesteading, cooking, gardening, home improvement, beekeeping, and other fun stuff. This show is eclectic DIY. It's a hot mess of fixing, growing, home improvement with some self-help thrown in the mix. Check out Garden Fork Radio, a podcast.